Answers, Reveals by Sharef Adel. That's a pretty bold title, right? And the author sets out to answer a question people have been debating for centuries. Just who was the Pharaoh during the time of Moses?
Yeah, it's one of those mysteries that's been tossed around in history books and religious texts forever. What really makes this paper stand out, though, is Sharef Adel's approach. He doesn't just pull from one discipline, he's cross-referencing Quranic verses with Egyptian history, archaeology, even linguistics. It's like he's making this mosaic out of sources that people don't always see put together.
Exactly. And the central question he's addressing is significant for a couple reasons. First, because the answer is more than just trivia. It ties into how we understand an entire era of Egyptian history. It affects religious narratives, obviously, but it's also, kind of a cultural question, right? Who gets remembered as Pharaoh, and why does it matter?
Well, I actually like how he frames this point. I mean, for centuries, most Western theories have jumped straight to people like Ramesses II or Merneptah. But Adel says, wait, let's actually look at the primary sources, and let's use the Quran as a reference point, not just a storybook. I think his main argument is that the pharaoh in question was Herihor, the high priest of Amun in Thebes.
Yes, and his method is, almost forensic? He goes through the Quranic text step by step, extracting characteristics about Pharaoh, dividing the people, seizing power, using stakes or tent pegs as metaphors for clinging to authority, and so on. Then he matches these clues with historical records. He even focuses on things like, why was the ruler called Pharaoh in Moses' time, but just king in Joseph's time? Little linguistic details.
The stakes, right. That image comes up a lot. In the Quran, Pharaoh is called Lord of Stakes, and Adel interprets that not just as, torture devices, but as Herihor staking claims to legitimacy, like planting political flags to prop up his authority, since his rule was, honestly, pretty shaky.
And it's kind of fascinating. Herihor wasn't born to be king. He started as a military commander, then sort of leverages chaos, religious unrest, and political infighting to take power. He stamps his authority all over the Temple of Khonsu in Luxor, crowning himself with, every title under the Egyptian sun.
Yeah, and the thing is, Herihor basically vanishes from history right after. There's no tomb, no funerary stela, nothing, despite all his self-promotion. Adel sees this as deliberate erasure. That reminds me, I once tried to learn hieroglyphs as a kid. I got as far as drawing birds and little reeds everywhere before I gave up. Anyway, random.
Wait, you drew little, owl glyphs on your notebook or something?
Totally. I thought it would be cool, but I only managed to confuse my math teacher. But anyway, back to the point. Adel suggests this political and religious instability is mirrored both in the Quran and what's left in the archaeology.
So, for listeners, what does this mean? Well, first, academic research is always a conversation. Adel's take isn't the final word, but it really pushes us to look deeper at the intersection of religious sources, history, and archaeology. It's like a reminder to keep questioning and keep comparing sources, rather than just settling for the well-known story.
That's so true. And, Herihor might never be as famous as Ramesses II, but maybe that's just because no one's looked this closely before. If nothing else, Adel gives us a new way to read both history and scripture, side by side.
I think that's the part I really liked. This idea that preserving history doesn't have to mean picking sides between science and belief. Our understanding evolves, and that's actually the fun of all this research.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe next time someone asks you about the Pharaoh of Moses, you'll have a whole new theory to throw out. Or at least a good reason to visit Luxor and see those pylons for yourself.
Definitely. Just bring a notepad for your bird drawings.
No promises.